Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Small Business Success Summit. My name is Owen at thevideospot.net. I am your humble host, connecting you with 15 different experts and speakers from around the country. I think we even have some international speakers to talk about techniques and tactics that will help you to grow your small business or to scale your medium-sized business. Because as we all know, growing a business takes more than just, positive mental thinking, and that kind of hype stuff. It also takes skill sets, and our goal is to bring you the types of nuts and bolts, step-by-step training that will get you to that next point. So if you're doing under six figures or hovering right around the six-figure business, the six-figure numbers, and you're looking to just frickin' double that, you know what I mean? We're teaching the skills that you need today from people that have done it. Now, let's say you're also in that position where you've got a $3 million business. That's kind of right around the range of a lot of my clients. We want you to scale. So we're teaching the strategies that we've used to help our clients increase their sales revenue, increase their internal efficiencies, and save more money, which increases profit margins and all that kind of great stuff. Today, my guest is like I've said before, is a friend, but he's also somebody that I look up to tremendously, not just because his energy and his passion for life and for the business is outstanding, but because I learn a ton from this guy. When Lem walks into a room, everybody knows it, right? He's got this big smile that is contagious, and I can call this guy, and I'm not going to give out your cell phone number, but I can call this guy whenever I'm struggling with something, and he seems to like put everything down and just say, okay, let's go through this. So he's somebody that I trust, someone that I respect a lot. He's a dad. He manages work and life and a successful business, running groups, creating products. And so I'm really excited that he made time for us today, and I want to introduce you my friend, my mentor, Lem Moore. Lem, are you there?
Yes, sir. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, it's good to see you, man.
Yes, sir. Good to see you as well.
Now, how is it out there? I mean, out here it's a little bit rainy, but you're out there in Texas. So do you have kind of like that eternal sunshine thing happening out there? Man,
right now it's kind of cloudy, but it's 65. But I think it's supposed to get up to like 70 today. I'm excited because I'm ready to get out.
That's why you call me. Lem calls me and he's like, "Hey, can we get this thing going? I'm ready to move."
Yeah,
things happen.
It's looking pretty outside, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, so for the audience the people in the audience that don't know who you are, they're not familiar with your work, why don't you give us a little bit of background on what you do and how you got to where you are today?
Well, first of all, I used to be a gymnastics coach, and when I moved to Dallas, I had to find something to do because I had no friends, had no one to call on, so I thought to myself, I've got to learn something. So I decided to come up with this great idea to actually start marketing for this gymnastics club that I was part of. And it's so funny because I just recently spoke with my first boss, and that was like 7 years ago. Wow. And I started doing marketing for her, and it started increasing the kids inside of the facility, and I was like, wow, I can do this, So I started my company called Dejafali Marketing, and it went from there. I started contacting businesses about, bringing in more customers. I learned how to do videos. I learned how to do a little bit of Facebook marketing. I had to learn it all to incorporate this onto a system. Once I had the system down, then it started to work because I wasn't afraid to walk in an office and say, hey, my name is Lem Moore. Do you have this? Have you been working with this? And they're like, no. And some were like, get out. But some was really welcoming. You know how it goes.
Yeah, I've been there, man.
Yeah. But over the years and times, I've learned how to just connect with people and to get them to listen to what I have to say. Even if they didn't like it, or later on down the road, they would, call me and say, hey. But that's how I built my business here in Dallas. I got a great partner named Kennedy who helps me run and maintain our business. And, wow, it's a blessing. To what I've done, it's awesome. I love people, so that's how I think it's worked. It's worked for me.
And it's infectious, you know, like I said, when you walk into a room, people know, because you know people in that room, and you're magnetic. One thing that you and I have in common, and this is why my business did 6 figures in our very first year, was I was not afraid to go knock on a door and tell somebody what I knew how to do. And at that time, all I was doing, I was calling it marketing, but it wasn't about new client acquisition. It was just about, you know, artwork and videos specifically. I'll make you a video.
Right.
What you were doing is actually, you know, even beyond that, and actually generating new business, which is the job of a marketer. You know, I think a lot of times we marketers, internet marketers specifically, it's like, well, I'm in internet marketing. What do you do? Well, I post 3 times a day for my clients. Right? You're a poster at that point. You're not really a marketer. How did you get over the fear of walking into places?
Well, you know, I think it was luck, because when you're a coach, you have to take criticism from a lot of parents. And think about it, you're dealing with people's kids. And I took a lot of criticism when I was younger. I mean, I started coaching like when I was 17 years old. I came out of high school, straight out of high school, went to coaching, and something that they saw in me, he was like, you are going to be one of the best coaches in the whole wide world. That's all I had to hear.
Yeah.
You know? And once I started dealing with the stress of not winning and losing, and parents, you know, just not happy with their child progressing, I knew that if I can deal with a passionate parent, because I am one right now and you are as well,
yeah,
I could deal with anyone, you know. And so I just learned that, hey, people are going to want to say what they want to say. They want to feel like, you know, what they want to do. It's just one of those deals. You just have to approach them, because you never know what the situation is, you know. And 9 times out of 10, what they're upset with is not really your problem or your fault. It could be something that happened during the week that they're just all of a sudden thought about, and you happen to be there to be that calling board.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you know what? There's passionate parents, you know, like myself and like yourself. When Kanan got in trouble at school, my oldest, he got in trouble at school, and I was like, you get that teacher in front of me right now. I want proof. I want hard evidence. You know?
I remember discussing that a few weeks ago with you. That's funny.
And my kid comes home, he's like, yeah, I did it. You know?
Yeah. Totally.
But you know,
get it.
You got passionate customers and passionate clients too, and they just want the best for their kids. They want the best for their business. And they want the best bang for their buck. And managing all that is a big part of what marketers do. Now, today, what I wanted to talk about with you is something that I go to you for. You know, I'm a member of your mastermind group on Facebook, and I've learned a lot from you on how to increase my visibility through SEO. But I've also learned a ton from you on how to prospect and how to acquire new customers. And there are 2 techniques that you use that are actually incorporate some offline strategies that I think are fantastic, because we're all so addicted to Facebook marketing, YouTube advertising, SEO, and all this online stuff that we forget there's a whole world of people advertising offline. So talk to us today about that, the first strategy that you and I went over, and kind of let's walk through that and teach our audience a little bit here on how to get more customers using some offline strategies.
Awesome, will do. So one strategy we can use, and what I always use, is when I was in LA here recently, I was noticing there was these newspapers. They have a lot of publication where you can find dentists, lawyers, floral stuff. It's just a small package of information that it's just a smaller version of a newspaper. They're all around the world. I know we have them here in Dallas, and they're called the Green Sheets. The Green Sheets is so golden because it gives you all the information that everyone is out there who is advertising, who is spending money. Now, if you find one of these in your local areas, just look at them and look at the companies who's advertising and see where else they're advertising. And you will be amazed. If they love being seen, then they're going to advertise with you. I have gone to the point to even call some of these companies and ask them, what are these guys spending on an average on each week for a small little section in your newspaper, and they're like anywhere from $700 up to $2,500. And I was like, a week? They're like, yes. And that caught my attention, because when I find these type of publications on the street, they're usually on the street corner, or inside of a Denny's on the rack, and there's always loads of them.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, are people really looking at these?
Yeah. I think the same thing. Because I use them for to get a fire going in my house. I do. We use them. I saw this on one of those BuzzFeed life hacks, right? Like, I get the paper and put it at the bottom of my trash can to soak up trash water.
Right. Yeah, hey, that's good. That's a good point. And you see, I'm thinking they're spending thousands of dollars a month just to be in that publication. I'm like, why not use it where they will know that they're being seen, And that's where I come in. I would call these people and say, hey, I noticed that you have advertising the green sheets, and I'll ask them, how is that working for you? Have you received any calls, or are you tracking that? And that right there completely just blows their mind, but they're like, no, how do you track that? That opens up another door. And from there, you tell them, hey, look, if you're doing video marketing, whatever, you say, hey, I can put up a video for you. I can put a certain number. Each time it rings, it can either come to me, or I can send a lead to you, or come straight to you, and you'll hear the prompt that it's coming from my company, and you'll know how many people are seeing your advertising like right now, rather than just being on the side corner or some place that no one would normally be,
Yeah.
And they get it. They totally get it. And that's like one of the awesome, that's like one of the best ways to get a client through that method, just picking up that paper, seeing who's advertising. Because obviously they have money and they want to be seen somewhere.
Right. Right. And why do you think they're advertising in a print publication?
Because the print publications have very good salesmen. I've actually talked to one myself, and I was trying to get them on board with my business. Yeah. And they go inside. They're nonstop. They're hammering these corporations and companies. They're hammering them every single day until they get that account. They are a no give up situation. They will get that lead. And
right.
And they just explain to the customer, look, we have so many readers inside our our newspaper. You're going to be seen somewhere. Someone is going to do this. Your competition's doing it. Why are you not doing it? And then they're like, okay, you're right. And then they'll show them. That's how they get them. It's a smart move.
It is a smart move, and they're very ambitious.
Yes.
I would even add to that, and tell me if you agree or disagree, that these business owners that can afford to do it are usually of a certain age group, right? Correct. And so they're probably a little bit older than you and I, and they are not used. They're used to newspapers, right? They grew up with newspapers. Newspapers for me started to die out in high school. Right. So that's when my family stopped subscribing. Now, the internet was not huge. That was in the late 90s, but the internet was not huge then. But we had already kind of decreased our interest in that, right? We were kind of getting into more multimedia, cable news, and all that kind of stuff. So these guys are more conditioned to newspaper, and so that makes sense. It makes more sense than this new Facebook thing that their kids are using, right? Would you agree to that?
Yes, I agree to that, because you hit that round the nail, Owen. They love their newspaper because this is what they do. This is what they only know, and they even hire on staff to come in and change things, and still to the point where they don't want to go to social media because they don't see it as a big asset yet. They're just kind of just going along thinking, okay, the newspapers are the only way. It's the only way. And that's what my business partner and I call it hope for marketing. You see a lot of billboards around town, and those guys, oh my goodness, are spending $14,000 and up here in the Dallas area just a month, and it's hoping that they will see the billboard and remember to call them. Now, I got to tell you, if the copy is not good on a billboard, you're not going to remember. Let me ask you this. What was the last billboard you saw today or yesterday?
I'll tell you right now, it's Chipotle. And I don't mean to throw a wrench in your gears because I know where you're going. Chipotle has excellent billboard advertising. Now, beyond that, I know that I see them on the 78, but that's about it.
Let me ask you this. Were you hungry when you saw that?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, because you know when I pass it? I pass it going home for dinner.
You see? Restaurants, so they get that, and that is like the best thing for those billboards right now. Restaurants, and especially at like lunchtime or dinner time, you're going to be hungry. That would be the best thing to do as a restaurant owner or chain, to put that up, and that's good. I've had another person say that before, and they were like, "I've seen like Applebee's." I'm like, "Yes," and I was like, "But were you hungry?" They were like, "Yeah." I was like, "There you go."
Yeah.
The copy has to be right. It has to be in the right frame mind. It has to be in the right set. So,
and that's why I want to go into this CPM conversation, because I don't know if everyone knows that term out there, right? Cost per million, or cost per mil, which is the Latin for thousand. So cost per thousand people. Newspaper and print marketers and billboard marketers are going to promote a CPM. They're going to promote how many thousands of people pass this advertising. Yeah, now I used to sell radio, so this was my pitch. Like, 400,000 people are going to pass this billboard every single day. If only 1% of those people, which is 4,000 or something, or 400, if only 1% of those people are hungry, and only 1% of those people actually come in every day, you're making X amount of money per day with this billboard spend.
Correct.
Right?
That is so true.
So knowing how they're going to pitch, knowing what newspaper guys are pitching, and then being able to walk in, knowing that, you're able to kind of talk about the value of social media. So what are some of the points that you bring up, kind of going step by step? So let's just back up. Number one is you go to Green Sheets or to your local Denny's rack. Right? And I do this all the time, guys. I'm always picking up newspaper. My wife is tired of it, because they stack up. And my thing is after a couple weeks, I throw them out if I haven't gone through them, because it turns over. But you go through them and you find out some prospects. How do you know which ones to contact? Do you contact the guys with the smallest ads, the biggest ads, the full page ads, all of the above? How do you know who to contact?
That's a great question. Normally what I do is I research them. I look and see where else they are, and I will go back to, like you said, the Green Sheets. If they're doing any billboards anywhere or have in the past, I will look on certain local networks, directories, if they're there. Of course, they're going to be in the yellow pages normally. I mean, if they're in my and I call it my 5-step plan of getting a client. If they're in the 5-step points, then I will contact them. If they're not,
you have like a 5-point qualification.
Yes, always, and that's the first step. If they're not spending money 5 places, then I don't have any firepower, because I have to go in and tell them to eliminate one to bring me in to show them what they're missing out on.
So is your qualification like they have to be spending money 5 other places, or is it a specific 5 places?
5 other places.
Okay.
5 other places. And most people say, yeah, you can go in and get them if they're spending money with 3, but I'm thinking to myself, no, I want a company who gets it. They know they have to spend money and get their name out, before I go contact them. Like the places that we contact, they're on the radio. They have TV advertisements. They have a little bit of social media going. Nothing big, you know what I mean? Nothing big at all. They have billboards around town. I mean, they're always in these news little papers and all the little articles that comes around. I know they're a big time spender. They're not going to give me the runaround about charging a certain amount of money to do video or whatever, because once I come into their presence, I'm going to connect them with different other social outlets to help them. That could be like you, creating videos or putting them on the spot like this, getting their program going to the next level. And that's what they need, because some of them are still trying to do that old stuff, advertising on the billboards. They're still trying to do TV. We all go through commercials. I do. I don't ever watch commercials anymore, you know.
Yeah.
It's things like that I explain to them, you know. And of course, I try to get them to do a little bit more, you know, video or pay-per-click or whatever, you know. I'll
And
change.
that's an easy transition too, I think. If someone's advertising on the radio or they're already doing TV ads, then
Yep.
you already kind of have a media focused person. And so now you're saying, well, let's produce some videos specifically for the web, or take your existing videos and make them web, you know, like web viewable. Because here's a quick little note, guys. You cannot take a lawyer advertising on TV and just put that commercial on YouTube and expect any kind of similar result. Web viewers are looking for a different format, right? It's called being media literate. You have to know what the medium that you're marketing on. Just like a Facebook post that doesn't play well on Twitter, right? You have to post differently on Twitter.
Yep.
So all right, that's really great. So you found them in Green Sheets. You walked through like your qualification process, and then you contact them. Walk us through like what that contact looks like. Are you walking in? Are you calling? Are you emailing? What are you saying? That sort of thing.
That's two. We actually walk in a lot. That right there.
Even now.
Yeah, that lets them know that, you know, we're here to help you. We let them know, you know, we're here to help you. We're not trying to sell anything. We want a conference set up with you like right now. We have a lot to offer to you. There are a lot of advertising mistakes that you're making. I don't know who's in charge of your team, but I would like to get together with you and your team so we can, you know, change some things up, because I see that you're missing out on a lot of great things with your service. And trust me, I have used your service before. I love it, but the message is just not out there the right way. They might take offense to that, but I'm coming with open arms to help them. And I was like, do you want to help? When is a good time we can get together with you? It's tomorrow at 5, great. And they're like, who are you again?
Yeah.
You know.
But I will say this. I'll add this to you. If you go in there with that kind of confidence, there is that chance that they'll get offended. And if they are, man, I mean, that doesn't mean they're not going to do business. They're just offended. But when you walk in with that kind of confidence, they're thinking like, who is this young brother that just walked up and You know what I'm saying?
And the first thing they'll ask you is, who are you? What do you do? How can I find more information about you? And that's where I think other marketers fall short. Number one, you got to have a place where they can Google you instantly and find out what you're doing, what you have been doing, who you have helped, and what you're all about. You can
bing, 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 bing. Everybody out there right now needs to create a video called "Who is Your Name?"
Yes, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, because your LinkedIn profile, it's highly likely your LinkedIn profile will pop up, right? But if your profile sucks or whatever, so update your profile. But you know, we actually just made two videos here on who is Owen Hemseth and who is Video Spot. And we're doing for the whole staff, because if Jason reaches out to somebody and they Google him, it needs to be right there.
Right. And that's a must, because they need to know who you are, and if they're dealing with a big timer or just some local marketer who just is cocky, you know. So you have to have all these things backed up. And I want to say this: I'm working on a book. I want a lot of people to understand, if you work on a book and you have a book and you have some type of bestseller anywhere, these things help tremendously, because that means that you are business. You are the expert that they've been looking for. You know, they want to deal with people with high credentials. That is what they are. Now, some people will go, whoa, I don't know if I can forward you. And you say that's true, but I can help you and guide you in ways that you will be able to afford me later on, once we, you know, fixed your system or your setup.
And you know, kind of having a package, something to sell, walking in, and we'll go into that a little bit later. Will you role play with me a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. So somebody's advertising on the radio,
right?
And don't worry, I'm not going to ask you for a French maid outfit or anything like that.
Okay. I'll try to get one for you, though, brother. Only you.
All right. So somebody's advertising on the radio.
Right.
And they're advertising in the newspaper.
Right.
So there's some money. They're going to have a secretary.
Correct.
Right? Or they're going to have like 5 different people working in a cubicle. We
Right.
call these gatekeepers.
I love them.
Let's role play through that gatekeeper. So I'm a secretary.
Right.
And I'm just doing my own thing. I'm half working, half on Facebook. And you walk into my office, and you walk into my office. You want to talk to the head lawyer.
Right.
What do you say?
Wait a minute. Are you a chick or you a dude?
I'm a very attractive young woman.
Okay. Got it. All right. Here I go. I'm walking in. Boom. And your name is? No, man. Hey there. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. How can I help you?
Oh, first of all, I'm really loving that hairstyle. That is awesome. Did you do that yourself?
I did.
Oh, wow. It looks like you've spent some time on that. Wow.
Well, I appreciate that. My husband doesn't think so, but
Oh, really? So
well,
you trying to tell me you spent all day long to get pretty just to sit here like this and answer all these crazy calls?
well, the head lawyer appreciates it. So, and we want to look our best. So, thank you for that, sir. Now, how can I help you?
Well, hey, look, I heard your advertisement on the radio. I just wanted to come in and ask you a few questions because I had some concerns, That number that you guys have on the radio, is this directly to you guys?
Yeah, that's our direct line.
Direct line. That is awesome. So let me ask you this, and you might be able to help me because I know you run this place basically, right?
Well, that is true.
All right. So that direct line, how do you know that's coming from your radio advertising?
We try to ask every customer how they heard about us.
Right, and you do realize that most people just kind of just give you that, well, I think I heard on radio or I thought
Yeah, because we advertise in a couple different places, so maybe they're not sure where they heard us from, or sometimes we just don't ask because they just want to talk to the attorney and that sort of thing.
Great. So with y'all understanding where your calls come, I'm sure that you would get paid more if it was very efficient to know where your calls were coming because that's a lot of money y'all spent out on advertising, correct?
Well, I do deserve a raise.
Yes, you do, which is why I would love to get with you and your lawyer and just talk about how you can actually have direct contact with these phone calls coming in because I think y'all are missing out. I mean, hey, I'm not trying to run things, but I know that this is a discussion that he would like to have because he doesn't want to spend all that money on something that he's not sure is working, right?
Well, I'm sure that he would, and if you leave a card, I'd be happy to give it to him.
Oh, cards. We do not have cards right now, but let me tell you, if there was a time that I can actually call back when he's there or available, he would love this advice. It's the free advice. I just want to give him like 5 minutes of our time. I have a specialist who's coming in with me who deals with nothing but this. So is this something you think he want to miss out on, or should I just leave and go check out the other guys? What do you think?
Well, what is it that you do?
Well, see, this is hard. This is why I wanted to get both of y'all together. It's so hard to explain, but I want to make sure that your phone calls are coming in and you are tracking them. I want to show you proprietary systems that we have for you that can help expand this because I heard that y'all are #1 law firm. Is that true? Because John Ray says he is. I've heard some of his customers, but I don't know if are y'all the #1?
That's good. Let's cut it there. Let's cut it there. No, that's really good because you did not once talk about ranking a video.
Nope.
SEO.
Nope. Never.
Nothing. You talked about analytic tracking. And the only reason analytics would matter is if you're getting results.
Results, And what I'm also doing is trying to keep her talking. Because if I keep her talking to me, I'm going to win the battle at the end. Most people will give up and say, oh, here's my business card. Thank you. No, I'm trying to set a meeting right then and there where I'm leaving an impact on her.
Yeah.
Number one, at the end of the day, that guy said my hair was good. What is she going to do the next morning when she gets up? She's going to fix her hair again, just in case,
Yeah. Yeah.
I do this stuff, and I learn this stuff from my wife because I ask her because she's, she's around people all day long, and they ask her certain things, and I'm like, where are you going to get your nails done? Did somebody talk about your nails today? She's like, yeah. I like that. It's like, and you remember it. She's like, yeah, I remember. It's like, that's good.
And it should be authentic too, because
Yes.
I've gone the flattery route. They've seen it, man. They've got the yellow pages walking in. They've got like I've got $15 toys guy walking in. They've heard the flattery, so you got to be authentic. What's interesting is you did a couple things that I love about what you did. Number one is you involved her in the process. You said you own this place, don't you? That's why I want to meet with both of you.
Yep.
Because I know that in the end, it's going to be you answering phones.
That's right. And she is going to be the ultimate decision if I get her first. Because she has to get me to the owner or whoever pays the bills. If I involve her and try to possibly get her in the mind frame of actually getting a raise because she has done such a good job from finding me, then that right there is going to help her say, hey, you need to talk to this guy. I mean, I know how secretaries work. They make a lot of decisions, believe it or not.
They do. That's why we call them gatekeepers.
Yes, they do. And if they don't like you, your first impressions, it's over for you. I don't care who you are. It's over.
It's not a Murphy Brown situation. If I can go back to my roots there on TV, Murphy Brown was an old TV show, and there was a new secretary every episode or every other episode. That's not how it works. Like these people largely have been with them for 20 years.
Yes,
they're deeply ingrained in the family. So most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time.
Right.
So all right. So now you get the appointment. Tell us about the presentation, right? So, because you talked a lot about call tracking, and I know that you use a company, I think it's Callfire or whatever, and there's a lot of companies out there. Let me just kind of take a break and emphasize why that's so important, because guys, personal experience, I have spent a lot of time doing marketing for my clients using their main line, and we'll just ask them. Look, when you get a phone call, someone says, I'm interested in buying something from you, you're like, okay, great, when can we come and see you? You are not interested in asking them how they found out about you. And you don't want to give them that anyway. So having a call tracking system, they're very affordable, that like shows you how many calls you got, how long the call lasted, is hyper important. So you're focusing on those results, and you go in, what's that conversation like? Or what the presentation?
Well, the presentation is like when I'm actually meeting with them, I will research all the things that they're doing. First of all, if you research a company, they love it because you're doing your work. That means that you're going to research the competition and tell them what they're doing. And normally I'll get their competition, and if their competition is doing similar to what I'm doing, what I'm talking about, I will show exactly what they're doing, what they've been doing as far as for the public, how they're getting their leads, where they are in social media, where they are offline in different entities around town, and I'll explain that to them. They get it because they're like, okay, I can't believe they're doing that. I can't believe that. Where they fall short, I'll let them know this is what we can do for you. You're not tracking this. You have no idea where your phone calls are coming from. You have no way to collect your leads, the people that hit your internet. You have none of this. This is where you are falling short. How much money do you spend each year on advertising? And then from there, they'll give me a roundabout, ballpark figure because they don't want to give me the total number. And I was like, okay.
It's an important question to ask, though. You guys have to be able to ask the budget question.
You have to, because I'm qualifying him just to see what he's spending right now, And I would say, okay, what does this company gross throughout the year also? And I want to add that because if my business partner is there, he's calculating all of that. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I just want to slow down real quick. If you don't have a business partner that can go in there with you, try to get one. I know this is crazy. Most people think I can do everything by myself. I've never been in that mode. I always want to have another person with me because two heads is always better than one. Number one, if you are the business owner and I'm trying to convince you to go with me, I'm going to have a question for you. My business partner is going to have a question for you. We're going to drill you until your head is completely done. You're like, okay, I'm ready to sign. But that's just okay. But back to the point though, is when I calculate all this advertisement they're spent and what they've made, I'll tell them, look, you have all these different outsourced advertisement you're using, and I don't know if it's working for you, but wouldn't you like to cut that in half? I'm always elite with a question. They're like, yeah. So this is what we can do. I give them what we can do. I'll show them that about, putting them in videos, whatever, video ads, whatever, and I'll say, now, don't you think this would get more attention of your viewers or your customers? And they're like, yeah. Then I'll ask them, why have you not been doing this before? You have a marketing.
That's a great question.
Yes. Why haven't you been doing this before? You have a marketing team, and they've done well so far, but why has this not been brought to the table? And then he's like, well, I don't know. That way, that makes me seem like I'm an expert again because he's hired someone to take care of that regular stuff. And that's just doing billboards again, newspaper advertisements, that same old stuff, And I let them know, hey, this is what we're here for. We're here to help you succeed. We don't want you to no longer go through life just doing what you've been doing. It's time for a change. I mean, most companies have to make a change before their business starts to expand. And I was like, you do agree on that? Yes, they agree on that. And then that's where it comes out. How can we get you on our team?
Yeah. And they're asking you that? They're saying that to you?
Yes. And believe it or not, we don't try to sell them right then and there. What we'll say is we need to analyze a few more things because we only work with a certain type of companies. And what we need to do is go back and check our analytics and see a little bit more what we can do to help you. And if you qualify, we'll call you back.
And at that point, are you basically preparing a pitch and a plan for them?
I am preparing a pitch. I know how much money they spend on advertising. I know how much money that gross. Or if they're on Manta, I'll know myself because I'll look on Manta before I ever go to see them just to see how much money they're making.
So you use Manta?
Yes, and that's so important because you don't want to get companies who just, and I don't want to scare people, who just made $100,000 a year. We're looking for big companies. Now, if you just want play money, like such as plumbers and things like that, you can go get a couple of $100 out of them a month, if you're bringing in leads, But if you really want big time businesses you want to work with, find them on Manta, know what they're making because they're either going to tell you the truth or you can go off what Manta said. Now, Manta's not also accurate, but it has a ballpark figure there.
Sure, it puts some numbers in your head.
Yeah, it puts numbers in your head, and then if they're being honest with you or not. And then if they are, then you can say, okay, this is what we're gonna propose to them later when we come back.
Yeah, I love the idea of working with local plumbers and dentists. Dentists a little bit different because they get insurance money, so they they can be rolling in it sometimes. But like plumbers, your handyman, and sometimes we go to them because we know them, right? They go to our church. We see them at Denny's. They're at the chamber meetings. But it's a tough market to work in because number one, they don't understand the value of branding and just having your name out there for name recognition. And it's like we need to get results now in order to justify $300 a month, which is a joke on advertising, Right. So going after these big companies where your sites should be, and it's where you kind of want the plumber to be eventually. This local plumber, Joe's Plumbing, whatever. You kind of you know what you do with Joe is you get him an ebook, you put him in a $97 mastermind course where he's gonna have his wife do it anyway.
Right.
I won't go into the details, but a heating company out here, he had his wife doing all the marketing, and in the end, it's like, well, if I hire you, then what's the need for me to be here? You know what I mean? So, we didn't get the deal, and it's like you've got to just go for companies, and that's why you have that 5-point method.
Right. That's why. Because if they're spending money and they have it to spend and they get it, it's not going to be a big argument for you. You just have to make sure you have your credentials, and that is it.
Yeah. It's low-hanging fruit, too, some of these lower-end companies. You have to, be aware of that. The low-hanging fruit, I mean, you see those oranges, and they're kind of, rotten almost.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want a squishy orange, man. I want that ripe,
right.
thing. So that's great. You find them on in the newspapers. You qualify them. You walk in or you call them and you go through your pitch, you meet with them, you present, and then you deliver a presentation. I mean, that is your method. What are the top, I guess it would change for every customer, but what are the top strategies you use now to make sure that you get results? Like, what is like one or two things that you know if you do this, you'll get their phone to ring like that?
I still use video marketing. If I'm not doing video marketing, I'll put up a banner ad campaign for them, you know, because sometimes video marketing does take time to rank, and if they want, I will secretly do some SEO on a different site just to send them information, and that is like the way to do it, you know. That is like the most powerful way to go. I know that I'm going to have to spend a little money just to get them going, but I think that scares a lot of other marketers because they're like, well, I don't want to spend money for this client, but you know what? I want to get them the fastest result possible, and then have a meeting with them like 3 weeks later or 2 weeks later if possible, and ask them, how's it going? And I'll show them what I've done, and they're like, dude, this is remarkable. And then they'll always ask you that golden question, do you know how to do something else? Or can you get me directed with this person or that? Yeah, you know, I can, you know, and that's the greatest thing about that.
Now, so what do you do to manage expectations, you know, so that, you know, I'm working with a financial guy and he's got nothing set up, you know. Right. His webpage gets 40 unique visits a month. I'm guessing those are Malaysian SEO people. No leads come in from that at all. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have to start from scratch with this guy. I'm gonna do Facebook ads. I'm writing an ebook for him. I'm gonna do Facebook ads and drive leads to that opt-in page. And I'm gauging success on leads right now, not new sales, right?
Right.
So I manage those expectations. Here's what we're gonna do, and here's what you can expect, and we're right on track for that. How do you manage expectations for some of your clients? What do you tell them to expect?
Quick question, with this financial advisor, are you in meetings with this guy like every month or so?
Once a month, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, good. What I tell our clients to expect is a small growth in the beginning, and I let them know this is not going to be one of those that's going to you're not going to get 50,000 leads overnight. That does not work, because if you do, you're going to get to this peak and it's going to drop off. You're not going to be happy. What you want to expect with us is a constant growth on the scale, you know, and they understand that. It's like what you have before has been either a straight flat line and then nothing, you know. What we want to do as your company is take you to each notch every quarter or so to look back and see where we can improve. That way they understand what you're doing, because I think most people come in with that confidence. Well, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and then the expectation's never there, you know?
Right.
And it's so important to get inside of their graphs and understand what they're using as, you know, their analytics. I mean, it all boils down to that. You've got to understand what the company has been doing for sales for the last 5 years, and you got to figure out how you can help them, you know, do more. I mean, there could be so many things you can do outside of having just online stuff.
Yes, that is so huge, man. That is so huge. I just got back from a conference, and we were given a task. It was awesome. It was like she gave us a task and said, raise as much money for this charity as you can in 15 minutes. Go. And it put us into groups of 4. And so all these groups were like, you know, we're going to do Facebook ads and we're going to do this. And I'm listening, and I'm like, guys, we have 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So I got on the phone. Me and my team, we got all except for one guy. One guy's like, oh, I don't feel like making any calls. And it's like, hey, for me, you just predicted for me the next 5 years of your business.
Right. Wait a minute, you got on the phone. Did you have to call people?
Yeah, we did. We called.
We did
$105.
And I didn't get a phone call. Really?
You know what? It's funny that you mentioned that, because by the time we got on the phone, we had already wasted 7 minutes.
And I could have had you at least $300. I would have said, Bill. I would have said, put Bill on down for 100 and I could have done it easily, man.
You know what? I'm gonna remember that. And next time my kid comes home with like a like a wrapping paper sale or a candy bar sale.
There you go, man. Hit us up, man.
But the point is true. Is like I got my buddy to donate. You're telling me you would have donated. There are people out there that will get you to where you're going. Now we're talking about friends and close business associates here, but there's also clients that are willing to spend. You just got to get on the phone and ask them. And going back to your bigger point of you're putting all your eggs in this basket. As a marketer, whether you're a small business owner or you're the marketing independent marketing guy or the marketing portion of a company, your job is not to make the Facebook page look cool. Your job is to get results, get new sales, new leads. That's the only thing that the business owner cares about. Would you agree?
Yes, and the most rewarding thing is when your clients call you and say, hey, so-and-so has called me today about this. What do you think about that? And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I have that award. I'm like, I want to thank the world for having me. You know, it's awesome because they so trust you. They trust you with every different thing that's coming at them. And if we don't approve it, they're not approving.
I have that with I have a small group of clients. I have a certain standard of client, and I've got a small group of clients. For two of them, the other three I don't even know, but the other two, they call me every time they get an email. Should we be doing this? Should we be doing that?
Right.
I got a call from this guy, got a call from that guy, and largely the answer is no, because I want to keep even if it's a good idea, it's like, well, let's look at that for the third quarter, because we already have a plan in place, right? What everybody's doing is kind of like, I want to do as many things as I can and see which one hits, rather than mastering one and then moving on to the next.
Correct. That is so correct.
And that gets more into marketing strategy.
Yeah, it is, and that lets them know that you mean business. You're not just there to waste time or play or take their money. You're trying to actually do something with their business and help them increase their volume. So yeah.
And that you speak the same language, so which makes you credible. So Lem, that wraps up our time for today. I'm overloaded, man. That process is really key. And it's important to recognize that you did not start online. You're not going online and searching Google or searching Google Maps and that sort of thing, which is there's strategies for that as well. But you're actually looking at who is spending money, where they're spending money, and bringing them into a new process. So I really appreciate you coming down and sharing that, dropping that knowledge bomb to us. How can we stay in touch with you, learn more from you, and follow you around the web?
You can follow me on SaturdayCupOfJoe.com. You can also register to get exclusive tools that I normally send out to guys. That once again at SaturdayCupOfJoe.com. I have a weekly show just like this, and we interview the top internet marketers online and those who are moving and shaking. And it's a great experience. You'll learn a lot, so you can contact us by there. We have a speak pipe. If you have questions, you can ask, and I'll return those questions to you. And there you go.
I'll put that link in the show notes too. And I was a guest on Saturday Cup of Joe. I had a great time.
Awesome
I feel like
time.
It was really nuts and bolts. That was a fun show, huh?
It was. It was awesome.
I'll put a link to that in the show notes below, so you guys can check that out as well. Saturday Cup of Joe is a great show. It's on in the mornings, East Coast time, but it's on live. It's on HOA, so you can go to YouTube and check it out. And I definitely recommend getting on his mailing list for the tools and the tips and stuff. I'm on the mailing list myself, and as an experienced, successful internet marketer, I love this stuff, because some of the biggest names, people you've never even heard of, that are doing amazing things in video, in SEO, in ranking sites, stuff like this, they're sharing their knowledge. We're in a group together on Facebook, and it's like one of the best groups. There are like 2 groups that I'm in that are really, really active, and Video Alpha is one of them. So, I'm sure if you go to his website, you can find out more about how to get involved with that. So Thank you, Lem, for joining us today, and thank you guys for joining us for another installment of the Small Business Success Summit. I really hope that you're getting a ton of knowledge here today. If you have any questions for myself or for Lem, put them in the comments that are on this page. If you're watching on YouTube, you can also leave a comment on YouTube. Be sure to tag me or tag Dejafali Marketing, right? That's your YouTube channel.
Yes, sir.
I'll be sure to tag you as well, so you can tag Lem. Ask us your questions. Get your questions answered. Stop hanging on the fence, guys. Make a freaking decision and do it. If you need to go out and make more sales, just go do it. Get 10 doors slammed in your face, because you know what? That 11th door, that 12th door, that's your yes, man. It's not going to come. It's not going to come easy, but it will come. The numbers don't lie. So that's my advice to you, Lem. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys on the next installment of the Small Business Success Summit.
Awesome.